Imagine it's 1987. You're a loan officer at a regional bank in Dallas, Texas. A man walks in wearing a tailored Italian suit, gold Rolex, alligator skin briefcase. He drives a brand new Mercedes-Benz 560 SEL, parked right outside where everyone can see it. He wants a business expansion loan, $200,000. He speaks confidently. He name drops. He mentions his country club membership. You approve the loan? 3 weeks later, another man comes in, Wrangler jeans, scuffed work boots, drives a 6-year-old Ford pickup. He asks for the same amount, $200,000, for commercial real estate. He doesn't mention any clubs. He hands you a folder. Inside are 15 years of tax returns, rental income statements, a net worth summary. You look at the numbers. The man in the Italian suit has a net worth of negative $40,000. The Mercedes is leased. The watch was financed. The country club membership charges to a credit card carrying $11,000 in revolving debt. The man in the work boots owns his home outright, owns 3 rental properties, has $400,000 in municipal bonds, no consumer debt, net worth $1.2 million. This story isn't hypothetical. It's a composite drawn from thousands of interviews conducted by researcher Thomas Stanley in the 1990s. His findings would eventually be published in The Millionaire Next Door. The data was clear. The people who looked wealthy usually weren't. The people who were wealthy usually didn't look it. This isn't coincidence. It's a pattern. And once you understand the mechanics behind it, you'll see it everywhere. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The system isn't designed to help you build wealth. It's designed to extract wealth from you through visible consumption. The only people who escape that extraction are the ones who learn to build quietly. This isn't theory, it's documented history. Wealth that whispers lasts, wealth that screams disappears. Most people believe wealth is something you display, that success is something others can see, that when you make it, you prove it. This belief is not accidental, it has been engineered. In the 1920s, Edward Bernays, nephew of Sigmund Freud, pioneered what he called public relations. His innovation was devastating. Don't sell products based on function. Sell them based on identity. Make people believe that what they own signals who they are. Before Bernays, a car was transportation. After Bernays, a car was a statement. By the 1950s, keeping up with the Joneses wasn't just a phrase, it was a social obligation. Your refrigerator, your television, your lawn, all of it signaled your place in the hierarchy. And the industries supplying these goods made sure you always felt slightly behind. This is what people think is happening when they see wealth. They think the wealthy are the ones displaying expensive things. They think success is visible, but that's not what's actually happening. Real wealth accumulation almost always happens in silence. Thomas Stanley's research, which included over 15,000 respondents across decades, revealed uncomfortable facts about American millionaires. Most never paid more than $400 for a suit. Most drove used cars. Most lived in houses well below what they could afford. And most became wealthy precisely because they didn't spend on these things. The math is unforgiving. Consider 2 people earning $150,000 annually. Person A spends aggressively on visible markers, leased luxury car, upscale apartment, designer wardrobe. After taxes and consumption, person A saves 5%, $7,500 yearly. Person B lives modestly, 5-year-old Honda, unremarkable apartment, clothes from Target. After taxes, person B saves 30%, $45,000 yearly. Compound both over 25 years at 7% average return. Person A accumulates approximately $470,000. Person B accumulates approximately $2.8 million. Same income, radically different outcomes. The variable wasn't talent or luck. It was visibility. Person A was performing wealth. Person B was building it. Every dollar spent on visible consumption is a dollar that cannot compound. But it's more than that. Visible consumption creates lifestyle inflation, the tendency for spending to rise with income. Once it sets in, it becomes nearly impossible to reverse. Human beings evaluate well-being comparatively, not absolutely. This is reference group theory. When you move into a nicer neighborhood, your reference group changes. When you buy a luxury car, you start noticing other luxury cars. Each upgrade doesn't satisfy, it resets the baseline. This is the trap. The consumer economy exploits this vulnerability. Every advertisement, every social media post, all calibrated to make you feel that what you have isn't enough. The people who build wealth quietly refuse to play. They understand something most never see. Visibility is a liability. When you display wealth, you attract attention, social attention. People expect more from you, invite you to expensive events. Commercial attention, luxury brands target you with upgrades. Legal attention, visible assets attract lawsuits, and internal pressure. Once you've displayed a certain lifestyle, downgrading becomes humiliating. So you stretch, you borrow. You take risks you shouldn't take. The quiet wealthy avoid all of this. They fly under the radar. They maintain optionality. They can walk away from bad deals because they don't need to look successful. Privacy isn't preference, it's strategy. The distinction between visible and invisible wealth is ancient. History provides a clear verdict on which approach survives. Consider the great merchant families of Renaissance Italy, the Medici, the Strozzi. They didn't become powerful by displaying wealth. They became powerful by controlling invisible systems, banking networks, trade routes, political relationships. Their palaces came after their power was unassailable. Contrast this with French aristocracy before the Revolution. By 1789, the visible extravagance of Versailles symbolized everything wrong with the monarchy. The nobles were drowning in debt, having spent generations competing for displays of status. Their wealth was performative, not productive. The guillotine was, among other things, an audit. Or consider America's Gilded Age. The Vanderbilts, the Astors, they built mansions rivaling European castles. They threw parties costing more than most Americans would earn in lifetimes. Within 3 generations, most fortunes had evaporated. By 1973, the last Vanderbilt reunion included over 120 descendants. Not a single one was a millionaire. Meanwhile, other families from the same era, the Cargills, the Mars family, maintained fortunes across more than a century. Their common characteristic? Opacity. No publicity, no monuments. Just quiet reinvestment. The Mars family, worth approximately $160 billion today, is famously private. No interviews, no social media. Most Americans couldn't name a single family member. That's the strategy. What follows are not tips. They are patterns observed across centuries, cultures, and economic systems among those who build and preserve wealth quietly. Pattern 1. The inversion of spending and saving. Most people spend first and save what's left. Quiet wealth builders invert this. They save first and spend what's left. This requires reframing your relationship with money. Most view saving as sacrifice. Quiet wealth builders view spending as opportunity cost, money that could have compounded but won't. The practical application is paying yourself first. Automatic transfers to savings and investment accounts on the day income arrives, before consumption has a chance. George Clason documented this in 1926 in The Richest Man in Babylon. It was ancient wisdom even then. Compound growth favors the patient, period. Pattern 2. Strategic invisibility in housing. Housing is most people's largest expense. It's also the most visible. Quiet wealth builders systematically underspend on housing relative to income. Stanley's research found typical millionaires spent less than 20% of gross income on housing. Many spent less than 10%. Housing is a consumption expense that multiplies. Bigger houses mean higher taxes, utilities, maintenance, insurance. They require more furniture, more decoration. They attract social expectations. The quiet, wealthy buy or rent housing meeting actual needs, not aspirational self-image. They live where they're slightly below average, not slightly above. This single decision can account for hundreds of thousands in wealth difference over a lifetime. Pattern 3, the transportation deflection. After housing, vehicles are the most visible expense. Unlike housing, they depreciate rapidly. A new car loses 20% of value in year 1. By year 5, 60%. Quiet wealth builders don't avoid cars. They avoid the performance of cars. Stanley found millionaires' median vehicle price was approximately $35,000. Many bought used. Many drove vehicles 10 years or more. The difference between driving new luxury cars every 3 years and driving modest used cars for 8 years can exceed $500,000 over a lifetime, accounting for compound growth. Transportation neutrality removes you from a competition you cannot win. There's always a newer model. Pattern 4, the skill before symbol sequence. Quiet wealth builders invest in capabilities before signals. Modern marketing encourages purchasing symbols of expertise before expertise itself. Buy golf clubs before taking lessons. Buy the luxury watch before building anything worth celebrating. This sequence ensures consumption stays high and capability stays low. Quiet wealth builders invert it. They obsessively build human capital. The highest returning investment is investment in your own productive capacity. $1,000 spent on a certification, increasing annual earnings by $5,000 returns 500% in year 1. That increase compounds across your career. $1,000 on luxury items returns nothing. Pattern 5, strategic debt. Architecture debt is a tool. It can build or destroy. Quiet wealth builders use debt strategically, never for consumption. Consumer debt, credit cards, auto loans for lifestyle, is destructive. Interest rates exceed 12%. Items depreciate. It enables lifestyle inflation beyond your means. Asset debt, mortgages on income-producing property, business expansion loans can be productive. Assets generate returns, exceeding interest cost. Quiet wealth builders maintain strict separation. They might carry a mortgage on rental property generating positive cash flow. They would never carry credit card debt for vacation. Control of debt is control of optionality. Pattern 6, the multiple income stream. Imperative. Employment income is the most taxed and least secure form of income. Quiet wealth builders never rely on a single stream. This isn't about working multiple jobs. It's about building systems, generating income independent of direct labor, rental properties, dividend portfolios, royalties, business interests. Each additional stream reduces risk, accelerates accumulation, and creates psychological freedom. By middle age, many quiet wealthy have income from 5 or more sources. They could stop working entirely and be unaffected. That's freedom. And it's completely invisible. Pattern 7. The network of competence networks built on status display are extractive. When you associate with people through visible consumption, each interaction carries hidden costs, pressure to match spending, to reciprocate extravagance. Networks built on competence are generative. When you associate through shared expertise and mutual problem solving, relationships become assets. Quiet wealth builders join professional associations, not country clubs. They attend industry conferences, not parties about being seen. A connection at a professional conference might lead to a partnership worth millions a decade later. Status networks can't produce these returns. Their transactional nature precludes deep trust. Pattern 8. The compounding discipline. Wealth building is a process, not an event, and the process is boring. Quiet wealth builders don't seek spectacular returns. They seek consistent returns over long periods. An investment of $10,000 returning 15% annually grows to $174,000 in 20 years. Continue for 40 years, and it grows to $2.6 million. The second 20 years produced 15 times the wealth of the first. Not because returns were higher, but because the base was larger. Warren Buffett made 99% of his wealth after his 50th birthday. He just had a larger base compounding longer. Patience is the edge. Most people don't have it. Pattern 9. The rejection of arrival. Consumer culture promotes arrival, a point at which you've made it and your lifestyle should reflect that. Quiet wealth builders reject this entirely. The moment you believe you've arrived, you begin spending like someone who has. That spending becomes a new baseline that can undo years of accumulation. More insidiously, arrival thinking creates a destination that doesn't exist. No net worth creates permanent security. No lifestyle requires no further discipline. The quiet, wealthy treat wealth building as permanent orientation, not temporary effort. Pattern 10. Privacy as asset. Protection, visibility, creates vulnerability. When people know you have money, some want association for wrong reasons. Some want to sell you things. Some want to sue you. In the legal realm, visible wealth attracts litigation. If you're known to have assets, you become a target. In the social realm, visible wealth distorts relationships. Family dynamics shift. Friendships become complicated. The quiet, wealthy solve this through opacity. They don't lie. They simply don't volunteer information. They conduct financial affairs through entities obscuring ownership. Discretion is worth more than most realize. Pattern 11. Generational vision. Most people think in terms of their own lifespan. Quiet wealth builders think in generations. If your goal is personal comfort, consumption makes sense. If your goal is multi-generational growth, everything changes. You structure assets differently. Trusts, family partnerships facilitating controlled transfer. You educate heirs differently, teaching principles, not giving things. You invest differently, seeking long-duration assets compounding across lifetimes. Great wealth families think of themselves as stewards of capital that preceded them and will outlast them. Pattern 12. Investment in intangibles. The most valuable assets are often least visible. Quiet wealth builders invest in education, health, relationships, knowledge, skills, reputation. A person maintaining fitness into their 70s saves on medical expenses, avoids early retirement due to disability, maintains cognitive function. The return on exercise and reasonable diet exceeds almost any financial investment. The quiet wealthy read voraciously. They take courses. They seek mentors. They guard reputation because they understand its economic value. These investments don't appear on balance sheets, but they compound silently. Pattern 13. Geographic and temporal arbitrage. Not all dollars are equal. Not all hours are equal. Geographic arbitrage means earning in high-cost markets while spending in low-cost markets. A consultant working remotely for New York clients while living in Portugal captures New York wages and Portuguese expenses. Temporal arbitrage means doing difficult work during high-energy years to create ease when time is precious. Front-loading sacrifice to build systems, generating passive income later. The quiet, wealthy make conscious decisions about where and when to deploy resources. Pattern 14. The discipline of optionality. Above all, quiet wealth builders prioritize optionality, the ability to choose. Every financial decision either expands or contracts optionality. Debt contracts it, consumption contracts it, accumulation expands it, liquidity expands it. Quiet wealth builders view every expenditure through this lens. Not, can I afford this, but what optionality does this cost me? A financed car costs the optionality to leave your job. A larger house costs optionality for career flexibility. Living below your means purchases optionality. The quiet wealthy accumulate optionality relentlessly. Their freedom is invisible, but it's the most valuable thing they own. Why do these patterns matter now? Because forces pushing visible consumption have never been stronger. Social media transformed status display from local competition into global. You're comparing yourself to curated highlight reels from people with every incentive to exaggerate. Consumer credit decoupled consumption from income. You can live beyond your means for years before the math catches up. And beneath this, underlying economics have become more brutal. Real wages stagnated for decades. Asset prices rose far faster than incomes. The bar for financial independence has never been higher. In this environment, the 14 patterns matter more than ever. Here's the constraint no one escapes. Time moves in one direction, and compound growth requires it. Every year spent performing wealth rather than building it is a year lost to compounding, unrecoverable. The 25-year-old starting aggressively has more than twice the runway of the 40-year-old starting late. And the trap. Pressure to perform wealth is highest precisely when compounding benefits of avoiding it would be greatest, in your 20s and 30s. Those who understand this escape. Those who don't realize it too late. The pattern is clear. People who appear wealthy often aren't. People who are wealthy often don't appear to be. The difference isn't random, it's systematic. Most people will absorb this information intellectually and change nothing. The pressure is too strong, the habits too deep. But some will apply what they've learned. They'll live slightly below where they could. They'll automate savings before spending. They'll invest in skills before symbols. They'll build quietly while everyone else performs loudly. Those people won't be visible. You won't see them on social media. You won't recognize them at expensive restaurants. That's the point. This is historical and educational analysis, not financial or investment advice. Your circumstances require your own judgment and likely consultation with qualified professionals. This channel studies systems before they become obvious. The mechanisms others prefer not to discuss. The historical evidence others haven't examined. If understanding matters to you more than entertainment, consider subscribing.